This is Attorney Trey Harrell. I've been dealing with insurance companies my entire life, whether it's working for them or fighting against them. So if you've been injured in an accident and the insurance company is giving you the runaround, don't delay. Call 636-TREY, or you can find us online at attorneyharrell.com. Hello, hello. It is good to be back. This is Attorney Trey Harrell with my father, Speaker Bobby Harrell.
It is great to be back doing this again with you, buddy. I tell you, it's been a little while, and I've missed it, and it's going to be fun for the next little while where we talk a little bit of sports, a little bit of Biden. I didn't say bashing. I said Biden.
A little
maybe,
politics,
maybe
a little sports.
Little local.
Yeah,
maybe we'll see what's going on.
Whatever we get in to talk to and have the ability to talk about, I'm pretty excited about it. I will say that I'm looking forward to having this show back on. Because hopefully we can run more than 5 episodes because I'm not going to take another federal job. So,
but you did such a good job in the federal job.
It was great.
It was incredible.
I loved it, but capitalism,
putting
ready to be
bad
back.
people in jail. That's what my buddy said he wanted to do.
Yeah, well, the beauty of this show and why I think you and I decided we were going to bring it back on this weekend of all weekends was because college football is back.
Yes, sir.
Yep, and we're taping this on Friday morning. And we had some good games last night. Ohio State, Minnesota. I'm not a Big Ten fan, but that was good to have that game on. Poor Citadel got worked by Coastal, but we kind of knew that was coming.
I tell you, it's kind of sad. But seeing Coastal last year, I mean, you knew that was coming. I hate it for our LCID local boys, but I spent a little time in Myrtle Beach. I like Coastal.
Yeah, what are you going to do? And the game that I actually really watched was the App State ECU game, and we can get into that here in a minute because it'll tie into our games that we're really going to talk about and issues we're going to talk about. We know that most people are listening to this on their way up to the games, either to Charlotte or to Columbia, or they're listening to it after the fact off of YouTube or Apple Podcasts. But, either way that you're listening to it, what I really want to get into when we talk about South Carolina, you and I are huge Gamecocks, and we have been. I was born into it. You made the decision years ago to go to South Carolina.
I did.
Put us on that trajectory. And sometimes I get mad at you, but deep down I'm thankful for it. So
you're so funny. Yeah, sometimes you get mad at me, but life's turned out pretty good.
Life's turned out pretty good.
That's the way it is.
Yeah. So, but I probably wouldn't be here if you hadn't gone to Carolina because you wouldn't have ended up marrying Mom.
I wouldn't have ended up in Myrtle Beach that summer. I wouldn't have ended up marrying your mama. You and I would not be doing this right now.
Yeah, so,
all you people listening would not be as blessed as you are
to enjoy this. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But what I kind of want to think about is there's a couple bullet points I got here that I want to touch on. This season coming up, I think the way you look at the University of South Carolina Gamecocks under Shane Beamer is that you really have to have guarded optimism coming into this season. And what I mean by that is the culture's changing in such a way that I haven't seen in years. In years and years, and I've been around since 1983, right? The Carolina fans since the year I was born,
right?
And the culture around the program is just amazing, and so I think guarded optimism is the way to come in. And so I want to ask you a question: are you as excited about Saturday night's game against Eastern Illinois, with it being Beamer's first game, as you were for Spurrier's first game? Or Holtz's first game?
No, I'm not as excited as I'm very excited for the season to get back. Having gone to one game last year and having a grand total of 10 people sitting in my entire section for the game, I am very excited about Gamecock football coming back, sitting with the fans, cheering on the Gamecocks, seeing them win. But, when Spurrier was coming in, we thought he was the second coming and Lou Holtz being the first coming, I guess. Right.
Yeah.
But so I'm not as excited as I was about those guys coming. I will tell you something, though, about this first game. I've heard some folks complaining about the fact that we're playing an FCS team, the old Division I AA, instead of playing an FBS team to start off the season. As it turns out, Beamer will be the first coach in Gamecock history to open the season with an I always get them wrong, FCS team that he's playing against. This 1 year, I think that is a godsend.
It is. It is definitely a godsend.
To be able to come in and play a team that they really ought to beat to help build a little confidence in the guys. I mean, we know we've got some real stars out there. Marshawn Lloyd and Kevin Harris. We know we got some horses. We also, unfortunately, know we got some holes.
Yeah. Or presumably there's some holes. We won't know until the season goes on.
Yeah,
but
I can't wait to see what Zeb does. Yeah. That's going to be a lot of fun.
I am looking for that. And that kind of brings into getting off topic a little bit of Carolina Preview is, Shane Beamer has been on record saying repeatedly that there should be a scrimmage game. There should be a game against other people earlier on in the season. Early in the season, the first game, a scrimmage that doesn't count.
That's what this was.
That's what I'm saying. I think that this is a good setup because what's so important to these FCS programs, these programs get to exist. We're money guys, we're business guys, so it matters to us. So these programs get to exist because they come play big schools like this and they get a paycheck. So why don't we make week 0, everybody plays an FCS team, let them get their paycheck, and then get rid of the cupcakes on the schedule?
First of all, I don't think there ought to be a week 0. That makes no sense. Yeah. Call it week 1 anyway.
I get
Call
that,
the last week 19 or whatever the next number is. This whole thing about week 0 it's like Coke Zero. I don't like that either. It's just that kind of.
The zero bothers you.
Yeah, that seems a little silly to me.
Yeah. Well, forget the week 0 part, but
the idea of having a scrimmage to start out the season, that would make perfect sense to me if that's how you began the season.
And the issue is if you did that, you're not in a situation where people aren't going to watch that game. If we played Eastern Illinois last weekend or the first weekend of the season, and they came to Williams-Brice and it was a scrimmage, it didn't count or whatever it was. TV rights are going to get sold for those games. People are going to fill up the stadium. The FCS school is going to be able to keep their programs going because they're going to get the $1 million paycheck, and it's not going to cheapen the season.
It ought to be the preseason game.
The preseason game is what I'm saying.
Week 0 is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and that's what I mean by week 0.
Yeah, but I'll get off the week 0 thing now. But it ought to be the preseason game. And the only big issue I've got with the Carolina's opening game this year is if we're going to give somebody almost $500,000, $400,000 to come play football, why not give it to Furman?
Yeah,
or give it
100%.
Give it to Erskine?
Yeah,
or Newberry, or somebody in the state that could really use that $400,000 toward their program instead of sending it to the land of Lincoln, which I saw in the paper. This is only the second time Carolina's ever played anybody from the land of Lincoln.
And I agree with that. And I don't know why.
But if you're going to do these games, let the local South Carolina schools make the money.
Hands down. Because it's a big chunk of revenue from the state of South Carolina. So I 100% agree with you on that one. Getting in, one more point or 2 more points about the season coming up is Vegas has us at 3.5 wins. That's where we're projected. All right. That means we have to lose to either Eastern Illinois, Vandy, Troy, and somebody else.
East Carolina.
Mm-hmm. That's East Carolina. Mm-hmm. To get to that level, we have to lose to one of those 4 teams to have to
lose the bet.
And I think that's
you took the odds.
I think that's very interesting to me. Well, if I was a betting man, I would have which I am. I would take the over on that hands down. But that's neither here nor there.
My only problem
with that guarded
being
optimism.
Only betting. If I was a betting man, generally it doesn't work out like I anticipated it's going to work out. But we certainly should win those 4 games. Yeah. And if they can somehow squeak out 2 that they shouldn't win, then we're looking at a bowl game. And the significance of a bowl game would be that you'd have the extra weeks of practice that this team could certainly use under Shane Beamer.
Certainly.
To me, that's what that would be about. But
and let's talk about.
They're talking 3.5. You and I are talking 4. Getting to 6 is a Herculean task.
It is, and that would do it. But let's hammer down on this. The next game following Eastern Illinois is East Carolina, right? Mm-hmm. And let's kind of dive into that because I watched that game last night pretty thoroughly, at least the first half. And I watched it as somebody who used to watch film in high school. When I played left out,
mm-hmm. but you didn't play left out. You played tailback primarily.
Way back when.
You played quarterback once.
Once.
Yeah. Everybody was hurt.
Yeah, everybody was hurt. Yeah, it was just me on the field running around. No. But Eastern Carolina, it was very interesting to watch. They've got a very nimble and quick defense, and App State has a quarterback in Chase Bryce that could throw the ball around the field. So we got to see if Zeb or Luke or whoever it is can throw the ball around the field. If they can do that, I think we can do what we've got to do. Plus, with our stable of running backs and our offensive line, we should be able to overpower them after watching what I saw last night. Now, mind you, I haven't watched the Gamecocks play, so I don't know if it is. I'm just looking at pure weight differential between the offensive line and the defensive lines, and we should be able to move them around.
I'd say for the season as a whole, we've got a pretty good offensive line coming back. We've got 2 incredible running backs back in the backfield. If our quarterback, and this is the massive if he can throw to his receivers, if they can play the play and catch and do it successfully, then we might be surprised this year. If they can't, then it is going to be a very long season because people will figure out how to shut down that run enough to keep us from being able to do anything.
Certainly.
So the big game inside the game to watch this year is how well do we throw the ball.
I totally agree with that. And, that kind of leads to
the most fun to watch will be watching Kevin Harris and Marshawn Lord run the ball. That'll be the most fun to watch.
And Zakar's right. I mean, we've got and Juju, we've got such talent that are going to get the ball in their hands that it's going to be fun to watch. But leading into your throwing thing, Zeb Nolan, here's my question. Not is Zeb going to be good, not any of that. Does the Zeb Nolan story, and if somebody who's listening to this on Monday, right, is there still a Zeb Nolan story, or is this just a one-off, because he's going to be on game day. It's great for the program. They're going to talk about it because it's a graduate assistant. And let us not forget that in 2012, we beat Clemson with our backup quarterback, our backup running back, and the point guard from the basketball team. Now,
and let us also not forget who Clemson is these days.
But that backup quarterback was Connor Shaw.
Right.
That backup running back was Kenny Miles, who played for the 49ers, and Bruce Ellington, who's still in the NFL. So that's a little different, I know. But we don't know if Zeb Nolan could go to the NFL. We don't know. But the question is that story still going to be around? Is it still something we're going to be talking about Zeb Nolan? Is he going to light it up? And is he going to light it up in a way that is similar to when Ryan Holinsky lit up Charleston Southern, or are we moved on and focused on other things? How do you think Beamer's going to push the narrative?
I think if Zeb Nolan has a really good game and lights it up, recognizing that he has to really light it up because of the competition he's playing against. But if he comes out there and we're all looking around at each other going, wow, this guy's something special. I think Monday is when they start to go, with name, likeness, and NIL, right. I think with that going on, Monday morning is when he starts negotiating the made-for-TV movie.
Yeah.
Because if you think back over this guy's career, played quarterback at Iowa State a couple of years, played backup quarterback, and then starting quarterback at North Dakota State, that storied program.
Oh, yeah.
And now is coming here as a graduate assistant and takes off the coaching uniform, puts on a player's uniform. When his team needs him, he comes out of the stands and puts on the uniform and plays.
It's the new 12th man. Yeah,
that if there's ever been a made-for-TV movie, if he plays really well, and particularly if he plays well enough that he deposes Cody for the next game, then he absolutely. There will be
a story. There's a narrative, great narrative going forward.
On the other hand, if he falls on his face, then this will just be one more little chapter.
One more little chapter. We got a little publicity. They got to see Shane Beamer being nice on TV, so it was good for us.
Yeah, we actually made it on the game day since they don't use our pictures in anything anymore.
We have to move on. I don't really want to talk about this. I even have in my notes, don't care, but we should say something because it's South Carolina and it's where we are. We got to talk about Clemson.
No question.
From one quarterback controversy to a shored-up quarterback, I think that this is going to be a phenomenal game. I think, let's do that, and then we'll come back to the quarterback story that I've got. Who's going to win? First off, South Carolina, Eastern Illinois, who's going to win?
Oh, South Carolina's going to win that.
Do we cover 40 points?
40 points.
40-plus points.
I'll be
I think
surprised
42 points.
if we cover, to be honest.
Yeah.
I really will be.
So that's
I hope so. But
I hope so. I hope we double cover.
Right.
But yeah. But all right. Okay.
Clemson,
so we got
Georgia. Who's going to win?
Who's going to win? My gut, or it's not really my gut. My heart tells me that Georgia's going to win, but my gut tells me it's probably going to be Clemson.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Clemson, and I think this 3.5-point edge that one of the bookies gave to Clemson is 3 points simply means the teams are even. It's a home game, and Clemson's playing at home. So basically, they're calling it a half-point advantage to Clemson is really what that means. I think it's going to be an incredibly good game. While we're at the Carolina game Saturday night, at halftime, we're probably going to come out and sit at the tailgate and watch the rest of that game.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll get into that, the tailgating and the shameless plugs at the end of the show. So you want to definitely hear those jokes.
Right.
But what I think is pretty interesting about the game and what's going on with Clemson is DJ Ungawa is, I always butcher his name, the new starting quarterback for Clemson. I really think that it's a very interesting scenario that apparently he's a Heisman frontrunner, right?
Really?
He's apparently, you just are too busy.
I tell you what,
you just
man,
are too busy.
I thought I saw that thing.
But anyway, he's apparently a Heisman frontrunner, and Vegas has him, or at least opened at plus 12,000, which was the same odds as Matt Corral, Ole Miss's quarterback now, but it's gone to plus 800. And so DJ enters 2021 following an impressive true freshman campaign, which he completed 78 of 117 passes for 914 yards with 5 touchdowns, no interceptions in 10 games with 2 starts. All right. He also enters with 28 carries for 60 yards. Okay. My question is, last year Trevor couldn't get Clemson to the promised land. He couldn't get him to the national championship because they got murdered by Ohio State, which is pathetic. That should never have happened. But do we get into a Peyton Manning, T. Martin situation with Trevor Lawrence and DJ? Because if you remember, Peyton Manning never got Tennessee to the promised land. It was the following year when the freshman quarterback or sophomore quarterback took over and led him to the Does that happen?
That certainly could happen. I'll tell you something else, too, interesting to me. We used to talk about South Carolina was cornerback U for a while, with Stephon Gilmore and all those great cornerbacks who came out of South Carolina, J.C. Horn this past year. Clemson is beginning to look a little, and this is kind of scary, like quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, they are, golly, because they got DJ, and then the kid they got in the wings, he's just as good.
He's just as good, and they're in the runnings for Arch Manning, which is,
I can't imagine that happens.
I can't imagine that happen either, but if Arch Manning was to go to a school, I doubt, he might go to Ole Miss with Lane there, but
I would think he'd go to Ole Miss.
You would think that, but you would also have thought Peyton would have gone to Ole Miss, not Tennessee. But what's very interesting about that is they're saying that that Arch Manning, when he graduates, he's going to make $10 million in NIL deals before he even goes to a school. God bless America.
I am so glad that I named you the third, so you can take advantage of that and make your $10 million off our name.
Name, image, likeness. Yeah.
Whatever.
I don't know if they want name, image, likeness of a lawyer, but if you do, call me 636 Trey.
Former prosecutor.
Yeah, former prosecutor. But talking about money and football and moving on. Yesterday, the Big 12. Apparently, it became public, has officially reached out to Houston and BYU to see if they want to join. And there's rumors that they're talking to UCF and Cincinnati. My thing is, I think the Big 12 is in a world of hurt, right? But I think those are not bad plays, purely because you're going to solidify the Houston market, which is one of the biggest regional markets in the country, one of the media markets in the country. You're going to solidify that. You're going to keep Texas folks paying attention to college football in Texas with that. Additionally, if you bring in BYU, you're going to pull in Utah, which everyone's like, Utah, no, Salt Lake City, which is a huge media market. So, I think those are two pretty good jobs. And if you can get Cincinnati and UCF, you can at least bring in media markets that you're not already in and be able to bring folks in.
I think from the league's perspective, it would be a good thing for them to do that. But I also think if the league doesn't figure out something, that they're done. Yeah, they're done. So, and I don't know that this is a big enough thing to figure out to solve it. It certainly helps the media markets. It certainly helps the people watching. But there's no way to make up for the loss of Texas and Oklahoma.
Certainly, I'm not. There's no way to make up for that.
I'm
not
pretty excited that the Red River rivalry is now going to be an SEC game.
Yeah, we got the Red River rivalry. Which the Red River Shootout.
Red River Shootout.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Red River Shootout.
Well, I mean, they changed the name.
I forgot. I forgot.
The liberals. But we got that. We got the Warlords Cocktail Party. We've got all kinds of great things like with that coming up, and so I love it. And I'd love to see the conference pick up and be better. That's kind of where we kind of went, we've got about 5 minutes left and we've kind of been sports talk the whole time. I just want to hit on one quick thing politically before we move into the shameless plugs. Talking about Afghanistan and Joe Biden. We really need to start thinking about it. People need to pay attention to, and consider 20 years ago, 9/11, when we consider these last 20 days. There is a major problem with some weak leadership that we're seeing that really needs to be dealt with. And I say that, and you know what? This is probably something that on the next episode, we're going to dive in a little deeper and talk more about.
We'll talk more politics
on the next episode because this isn't this is the first weekend of college football, so that's kind of where we dove in.
You and I are both just so excited about college football.
But I think that we're in such a situation that if we don't, and next episode will be airing on 9/11, so we will definitely be talking about Afghanistan and 9/11. But we're just erring on this side of real fear for me going forward. Luckily, which I'm sure the Biden administration loves, we have college football to take that away from us and to pay attention to, so we're not paying attention to that other stuff. And so, to me, I just think that is just such a interesting thing that I really can't wait to dive into on the next show.
And the next show, I want to dive into the stuff about 9/11 and about the Biden administration and this withdrawal, which was the worst thing I think I've seen in my lifetime, and that's a number of years. I also want to talk about the tax plan and the taxes that are getting ready to be spent. I sent you a quote yesterday. Benjamin Franklin said, "When the people find that they can vote themselves money, that will herald the end of the republic."
Oh yeah.
And that's where we are.
That's right where we are. And
it's a scary thing.
It's the other quote where people are willing to lock themselves in a closet for $1,000 a month on welfare or unemployment, as well as a stimulus check
and over
bonus,
half the people in the country in a poll said they're willing to do that.
And that's ridiculous. All right. But you know what? That's that. We're going to dive into that. We're going to talk about that. But here's what I want to do. The end of every show is going to be what I like to call shameless plugs.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Big thanks for the Harrell family these past today and yesterday. My little girl's birthday and my namesake, your namesake, passed away.
Today is the anniversary of your grandfather, my father's passing.
Yep.
Yes.
And so I just want to take a second to thank him.
Two incredibly special people to us.
Yes. I just want to take a second to thank my grandfather, your father, for all he did. The reason Harrell Squared is a show and named that is because of Harrell Square that he built.
That's exactly right.
We love him and we miss him, and we're just so grateful for all he did. Now,
and then we pivot to Lucy, and we are so blessed to have that little girl.
They really are. They're born the way they were.
Yesterday was just, what a sweet girl.
They're born the way they are with, one on the third, one passed on the third, one was born on the second. And it's just one of those things that is so awesome. And the great thing about Lucy being born when she's born is, tie this into college football as we wrap the show up. Epic tailgate party for Lucy at our tailgate spot. If you're in Columbia, come by Premium South. Come by it.
Look for the Harrell Insurance flag and the Trey Harrell Law flag, because it will be flying 30 feet above our tailgate. So if you just look for those two flags, come see us.
Come see us. It'll be good times. We'll be celebrating Lucy's birthday.
Gamecock victory.
And Gamecock victory and all that stuff that goes on it. But, we
got some presents for Lucy tomorrow,
we got presents for Lucy. As we wrap up the show, the other shameless plug is if you need insurance.
Call Harrell Insurance, 843-766-9900.
And if you need any kind of legal advice, give me a call at 636-TREY or find me online at attorneyharrell.com.
HarrellInsurance.com only if you want to save money.
Only if you want to save money. Dad, this has been a pleasure. Love you.
Enjoyed it, Dad.
Go Cox.
Enjoyed it, buddy. Thank you.
This is Attorney Trey Harrell. I've been dealing with insurance companies my entire life, whether it's working for them
are fighting against them. So if you've been injured in an accident and the insurance company is giving you the runaround, don't delay. Call 636-TREY, or you can find us online at attorneyharrell.com.